let me start this video by saying that I'm not a traditional airplane vlogger. This isn't a flight review, it's my way of sharing my excitement to be back on a plane after 2.5 years firmly on the ground. My first flight took me from Bali to Singapore on a brand new Boeing 777. Of course everything was amazing. We're talking about business class on Singapore Airlines. From the first sip of champagne to the Thai pineapple chicken main course and the raspberry tart for dessert, I could not resist. These 2 hours in the sky literally flew by. I've made it to Changi Airport, and I actually have to say it just feels so strange to be somewhere where there's so many people and things that are clean and these luxury stores. I just went through the duty free and was wafting in all of these beautiful colognes and perfumes, and it just is like I've entered into a different world. I don't know, I've been in the Bali bubble for 3 years, 2.5 years, and now I'm walking by Fendi and Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Balenciaga. Not that I'm buying any of these things today, but just to be somewhere. And the great thing is that as of last week, transit passengers through Singapore no longer need to do any tests, and because obviously I didn't need to test for Turkey, that means that I don't also obviously need any tests, and I'm able to roam around the fabulous duty-free of Singapore. So I'm doing some shopping because I realized I actually have 10 hours of layover. My flight leaves at 1 a.m. It's 3 p.m. now. I don't want to just spend all of that time in the lounge. I kind of just want to see what's around here, but then I will certainly eat and drink myself for free in the lounge for the rest of the time. So, wow, here we are in the airport in Changi in Singapore, which is the last country that I was in before the pandemic shut the world down. So how fitting to be back here again. Okay, so I didn't buy anything. Instead, I headed straight to the KrisFlyer Lounge, open in Terminal 3. It's gigantic, but even during the pandemic, it was full of business passengers. Instead of the buffet service, you now order food through the app and have it delivered to your table. I felt the food choices were subpar, but this fish dish wasn't too bad. So the great news is that the shower rooms are open in the Singapore Airlines lounge, and they also have a private toilet in here, which is great because I hate going to the bathroom in a public restroom. I think that is the absolute worst. So I can actually just refresh and brush my teeth because I still have another 5 hours until my flight at 1 a.m. It's gonna be a long 5 hours. I've literally just experienced the height of luxury. Look, actually, as I'm talking, this toilet just reopened itself. I've experienced the height of luxury with the toilets in the Singapore Airlines lounge. Not only do they have heated seats, but then they spray the perfect warm water on your bum, and then they also like breeze your bum with a warm gust of air. The only thing is I couldn't figure out how to turn it off for a few minutes, so I was just sitting there while my butt was getting very clean. This is something that I wish I had in my normal life. When I lived in Chiang Mai in Thailand, I did have a toilet, like a smart toilet, but not anywhere near like this one. This one literally, as soon as you walk by, it opens it up, and then when you're finished, it closes and it cleans itself. Wow, I just feel like Singapore is 100 years in the future. I'm really taking my time to enjoy myself in this private bathroom because the lounge was so crowded when I first got there, and it's emptied out about halfway at this point. But still, I feel like there's no privacy and there's no place that you can really just rest. So I'm just really enjoying the luxuriousness of being in this space all by myself and having all of these products to use and just kind of like primping myself, because, you know, it's really strange when you fly, all of a sudden hairs sprout out from your face like at lightning speed, that if you were on the land, I swear that they would not grow as fast, and I have to tend to my unibrow and all of these other nasty hairs much more frequently after flying. And also, I mean, I am using a 3-time magnifying mirror, so that does help identify everything. This toilet seriously has a mind of its own. It just opens and closes as it wishes, and it's amazing. That toilet, I think, is the most luxurious thing I've ever experienced in my life. I'm not even joking. But yeah, the lounge in Singapore is so nice that it's worth stopping over just to experience it, though I would not recommend being here for 10 hours. For the next few hours, I drank a glass of champagne and people watched across the bar. I couldn't help but notice how badly dressed most people are. I still love the glamour of flying, but I think I might be the only one left. My flight was one of the last of the evening, and after zoning out for another couple hours, it was finally time to board. Good evening, I'm so tired, I want to go to sleep right away.
Really? Okay, sure, absolutely. You having your meals or something or nothing at all?
No meals.
Okay, I'll let the girls know so they won't disturb you. 14K.
Just breakfast.
Okay, absolutely. 14K, sir. Yeah.
I've arrived in my very comfortable seat 14K, finally at 1:30 in the morning, and this is going to be an 11.5-hour flight, of which I hope to be sleeping at least 10.5 hours. And this is the nicest Singapore Airlines plane I've ever taken, because I've only flown in business class regionally before on Singapore Airlines, but this is, I think, an A330 if I'm not mistaken, and it is very spacious and comfortable, and I'm looking forward to making this seat a bed as soon as possible. I have everything I need right here, a bottle of water to take my Klonopin. I think that this whole video should be sponsored by Klonopin, and also a cute little gift toiletry packet. Let's see what's inside. The same brand as actually was in the lounge, this that I don't know how to pronounce, Quercus or something. So just some little, like a random plastic bag, don't know what that's about. But yeah, I mean, standard little things that actually are not that useful. Like what would be more useful is a toothbrush. But that's probably in here somewhere, I would imagine. They would have to give you like a toothbrush, and I'd really like some slippers. I should have brought my own, being that I own a slipper company, but I did not. And that's all. So I'm not going to be videoing anything really, I think, for this flight, because I am going to be sleeping. But when I wake up, if I'm not so exhausted, I will try to film the breakfast service and the landing in Istanbul. I'm just so excited to be in 12 hours in Istanbul. Well, it's officially the morning technically somewhere, I'm not sure, but it's the morning when I start with coffee. This is a Brazilian blend. I asked for something that was bold and not acidic. I slept for maybe about 4 or 5 hours. The thing is, I took a Klonopin the moment that I got on the plane because I was so exhausted. The boarding was at 1:30, the flight was at 2 a.m., and I had been already, as you know, as I've said many times, in a 10+ hour layover. The thing is, this is a different plane. This is an A350 from the one that I flew from Bali to Singapore, which had, I think it was newer, and it had a touch screen where I could just make the bed completely flat. In this plane, I couldn't do that myself, so I was sleeping like at a very bizarre angle, like not flat for all of those hours, and the stewardess didn't want to wake me up because I was just totally out cold. But when I woke up, she said, "Oh, would you like me to actually make your bed?" And then, of course, it was flat for the rest of the time. So now it's breakfast service. Please.
Sorry to interrupt.
No interruption at all. I'm just very narcissistic and like to talk to the camera to myself.
How do you like your coffee?
It's perfect. I'm used to Indonesian coffee though, because you know Indonesia also has very good coffee.
They have the best coffee. I love it.
Thank you.
You must be hungry. You haven't had anything at all.
Well, I ate enough in the lounge. I was there for about 11 hours.
Yes, because you're connecting flight right slowly, right?
Yeah, it was not a great schedule.
But most importantly, you get good rest.
And most importantly, now good breakfast.
Can I get you any yogurt and milk tea as well?
Maybe afterwards. I'll see how the eggs and chicken is first. Oh, and fresh fruit. Oh, lovely.
Everything's something here, and then I can have the bread roll shortly.
Okay.
You'll get a muesli and later when you change your mind, you like it up there,
Thank you. And the chicken comes after, yeah?
That's right.
Okay. So as you can see, we have a lovely breakfast service served on a proper tray. A little bit turbulent. My water is flying everywhere. But I am so feeling at least revived from 4 or 5 hours of sleep, whatever I had. And I've just been delivered some fresh fruit before the actual meal that I ordered of egg and chicken sausage. So I don't know what else to say right now. I'm just in the process of waking up and about half alive at the moment, but happy to be alive and in this very big comfortable seat. You can't imagine my delight right now that they've just passed out little croissants. Oh, and they're warm too. And crispy. Oh my god. So people may or may not know if they've watched previous videos, but I start every day in Bali with coffee and a fresh croissant. So I almost feel like I'm back at home here on Singapore Airlines, and the purser, or I don't know what you call the head steward, but was so kind. He said, because he saw I was so excited about the croissant, he said, one for you and one from me. So I have two. There's so much storage space in this seat. I have my phone charging right now in this compartment, and then there's space over here. There's space up here. There's even a mirror so I can see how I look after 20 hours of basically being in transit, a vagabond as I like to call it. And I'm waiting for another cup of this delicious Brazilian coffee, but right now the fasten seatbelt sign is on, so they're not delivering the hot drinks. But the service is so good on Singapore Airlines. That's why I love to fly them. The people are so friendly and nice, and you know, I love being called Mr. Field. And there's just really no other way to fly, honestly. Once you get used to this, there's no going back. So I really hope that I never get to a point where I have to go backwards. I mean, it always depends. Like, I would fly economy for a very short flight, like an hour. You'll see coming up in Turkey, I have economy flights going to Antalya, where I'm doing my dental work, because there's no point in paying so much for a seat that actually doesn't even make any difference for a short flight. But when you're flying for 11 hours, to be able to sleep is so important. Thank you again. Thank you. Interesting. So I guess this is like an English breakfast. This is the scrambled egg, so it looks very, very strange. It's like in a block with the chicken, sausage, and some beans and some mushrooms, and looks like spinach. To be honest, it doesn't look appetizing. I'm sure the taste is better. I mean, I'm not British, so I don't really appreciate an English breakfast, but it is hearty. I haven't really eaten much for the last 12 hours, and I don't even think by the time I get to Istanbul I'll be able to eat anything for a while anyway, because I have to wait to check into my Airbnb for a while, and I don't want to just like leave my luggage and expensive things unattended. So, bon appétit! Apparently our flight was longer than usual due to airspace closures from the Russian aggression into Ukraine. I was hooked between watching the flight path and the window when the clouds finally parted to reveal a cold and rainy Istanbul below.